Think I'm live. Hi, everyone. Welcome to the second part of Understanding and Overcoming Exhaustion. In the first part of this live, we spoke about what are the causes of exhaustion. We spoke about what could be the manifestation of it, as well as the different types of exhaustion. Now, even in different types of exhaustion, there are like subcategories of it. We basically spoke about physical, mental, emotional, and spiritual. But exhaustion can further be categorized into emotional exhaustion, and under emotional exhaustion also there are again different kinds, exhaustion that comes from relationships, exhaustion that comes from work, exhaustion that comes from not being authentic to yourself. So that's a different discussion that we are going to have in our further live events. Today we are going to continue the discussion that we paused in the last event, right? So the last thing that I mentioned in the last event was what are the reasons, like what are the reasons that we end up unconsciously choosing exhaustion, right? Because knowingly we don't actually choose exhaustion. There is always an internal decision, an internal pull towards exhaustion that is stronger than our conscious understanding of, I don't really want to be exhausted. Despite having the awareness, despite having the information that life does not have to be hard for you, you still may be choosing it without knowing, because there's an unconscious loyalty, because there's an unconscious calling towards it, right? So we'll be continuing a discussion from there. I'm just going to quickly check if my audio and video is fine. And for those of you who are watching this as a recording, feel free to put down any questions in the comment section, or you can directly like text me on LinkedIn, or you can join our free community on personal growth called the Safe Space. I think my audio and video is fine. Yeah. Okay. Great. Let's go ahead. So the last point that I ended up mentioning was the inherited pain from your parents. I'm going to continue from that. So one of the reasons you end up choosing exhaustion is because that's the pain that you inherit from your parents, right? So you don't just inherit your parents' looks or your parents' way of being. You also inherit the way they deal with situations, right? And if your parents, either one of them or both of them, have had a history of a lot of exhaustion, have had a history of always choosing the hard path, have had a history of, taking pride in struggle, taking pride in exhaustion, then it is a possibility that you will also choose that. Right? In fact, there's a very, very high possibility that you will choose only that, right? Because how to deal with life, everything, the model of the world of life, the blueprint of life, all of this you learn from your parents growing up, right? And that is why when you are an adult, I think the biggest milestone of your life is going to be questioning everything that you have learned as a child, because that is going to truly allow you to build up your own personality. Otherwise, you will just end up being a product of what your parents were and what your surroundings were. And what tends to happen with inherited pain, and what do I really mean by this, is in the work of trauma world, there is this term that we use called epigenetics, right? Which means that the pain that your parents have gone through kind of gets decoded in your genes, right? And they express themselves like that. So when your parents have had a very traumatic history of being very, very exhausted because of whatever conditions they were in, for example, let's say you had parents who were always exhausted. Let's say your father was always exhausted because of work, your mother was always exhausted due to household chores. So what you are really inheriting is exhaustion, right? And there is a chance that you will create a life where you're also exhausted. You may not necessarily be struggling like them, right? It is not like you're struggling like your father financially, or you're struggling with household chores like your mother, but yet you may end up choosing exhaustion, because exhaustion is what was common in both of the stories, and that is how they dealt with life, right? So you may unconsciously be choosing that, and that is what we call inherited pain from your parents. Similarly, there is also something called unconscious loyalty, right? Unconscious loyalty that we have towards our lineage, towards our parents. So what does this really mean is that, see, growing up, right, we tend to do things that make us belong to our system, right? And our primary system is our parents. So we don't do anything that is against what they have done, or we very rarely do things that are very wildly different from what our parents do, right? Specifically in terms of behavior, because biologically speaking, that is how we belong to the system. And speaking in the terms of the trauma world, that is how you feel belonged to your mother and father. Because as a child, your entire sense of being comes from how belong do you feel with your parents, right? Because that determines your safety as a child. So it is unconscious loyalty to exhaustion is basically your inner version, your younger versions of you that lives within you, your inner children that lives within you, saying to your mom and dad that, look mom, I'm just like you. I'm also going to struggle in life like you. I'm also going to choose the hard path. I'm also going to make my life difficult, because that is what makes me feel that I'm like you, that makes me feel like I belong with you. Similarly, it can go with your it can the same thing can go with your father also, right? Your loyalty to exhaustion, and this is very unconscious, by the way, you don't really choose it. It is like saying that, look dad, I'm just like you, or that, look dad, I belong to you by through exhaustion. As adults also, we love our parents through two things. We either love them through unhealed trauma, or we love them through a healthy space of being, or through expansiveness. Usually when you have had unhealed childhood trauma, you love them through maladaptive behaviors, right? You may love your mother and father through exhaustion. You may love them through consistently choosing the hard path, consistently making your life difficult, right? Because that is how you believe you are like your parents, right? Because we like to belong to the system. But when you start doing inner child healing, when you start doing child trauma healing, you would realize that there is another way to belong with your parents, right? Which is through love, which is through expansiveness. And this loyalty is very, very unconscious. You may not even realize it, right? Because the inner wiring is so strong that you may unnecessarily be making your life difficult. Which brings me to the next point is I want to talk about mother wound a little bit. So, if you have not attended the free boot camp I did on healing childhood trauma, it's an evergreen boot camp I did a while ago. Almost everyone who watches it tells me that they have learned something about themselves they never knew, right? Not even almost everyone. I think everyone has said that. So, go and watch that. I have explained mother wound and father wound in detail there, but I'm going to explain here too because it's very important. So, what is a mother wound, right? A mother wound is a trauma wound that happens when you have not had an unconditional and consistent relationship with your mother, which means that your mother has not been able to give you unconditional and consistent love, attention, and presence, right? Now, both the conditions need to be met. For you to not have a mother wound, your mother had to give you unconditional love and consistent love and presence, which means that, let's say your mother loves you unconditionally, but she was never really present, right? She was always busy somewhere. She always had to tend to someone else, or she was always doing something or the other, right? So that safety isn't really found. Similarly, let's say that your mother was present, but her love was not unconditional. She criticized you a lot, or she always told you that you were not good enough, or she was always trying to let you know that you made this mistake, that mistake, whatever. When that is also the case, then also you have a mother wound. So because of mother wound, what tends to happen is that receiving becomes difficult in life, because you learn to receive from your mother. When you are conceived in your mother's womb, whatever you're receiving in the world, whatever you're receiving from the world, right, the nutrition, everything that you need to survive, you receive it through your mother, right? Similarly, when you are born, the first primitive years of life, right, specifically, in fact, the first year of life, a child doesn't really know that his mother and him are two different like entities. He believes that they both are the same. You receive everything from your mother, right? Like, your mother literally feeds you from her body. So how you receive the world comes from your mother. So when receiving from the mother becomes difficult, receiving anything becomes difficult, and that is what we call the receiving block. When you have a receiving block, what it essentially means is that you make it difficult for yourself in your life to receive anything with ease. Which means that if, let's say, there is an easier way to invite love in your life, there's an easier way to invite money in your life, there's an easier way to invite success into your life, you will not go to that. You will choose the hard path. You will make it harder for yourself. Why? Because that's the blueprint you are aware of since you were a child. Because receiving from mom was difficult, so that is the only way you know how to receive. For example, let's say that there is you and your friend, okay? You and your friend both want to invest in your inner work, okay? Because you know that if I invest in my inner work, that is the only way I will be able to come out of my repetitive patterns, right? And let's say both of you need a certain amount of money, and for whatever reason, you don't have it right now, both of you. Let's say you have invested it somewhere, whatever, whatever. And you are somebody who has a mother wound, and your friend does not have a mother wound. For your friend, money is just money. Money is just a medium of exchange. For you, money is not just a medium of exchange. It's very emotional. It is it is something that's bigger than just medium of exchange. When somebody gives you something, it makes you feel heavy. That's not the case with your friend. So let's say your friend decides that, you know what, I don't have the money right now, but I really need to do this work because it's important for me. Let me borrow it from somewhere, or let me ask any EMI option from whoever I'm buying from, or let me just borrow it from my parents, whatever. Right? For you, you don't even think about it. When you think of borrowing money, you feel so heavy and so tight that, oh my God, I will have to take help from someone. That idea doesn't even occur to you. In your head, you may feel like, oh, I'm such a moral person. That's not the truth. The truth is that getting money from anywhere is just receiving. For you, receiving is difficult. For you make it harder for you to receive. You're very rigid about how I can receive something, right? So you create exhaustion in your life because you have a receiving block. Whereas your friend who does not have a receiving block, let's say he borrows money, invests in his inner work, starts his healing earlier, is able to become confident, is able to become more free, is able to let go of all of his patterns, creates more success. He gets a head start because he does not have a receiving block. That's a very major point a lot of people who are exhausted and struggling ignore. They make receiving a moral issue, but in reality, it's not a moral issue. It is the fact that you cannot make it easy for yourself because you don't know how to receive, right? And I've spoken about receiving block a lot when it comes to your relationship with money, also because it's a very pivotal point which most people don't like to accept, right? Most of the times, the reason you may have money issues, or you may have prosperity issues, or even success issues, is because you don't want to receive easily. You're very rigid about how things can come to you, right? So when receiving block is the case for you, you get exhausted because you are rigid that this can happen only through this, right? For example, you must have heard some people, right, that, I can get things like this only. It is about my pride, it is about my self-respect, and this and that. In reality, it is not about that. In reality, they cannot accept the fact that things can come easily to them, right? Because they don't know that it is possible for them, right? It's not about self-respect, it's just a trauma wound that has gone left unchecked. So that is what is the difference between somebody who has a receiving wound and somebody who does not have a receiving wound. Somebody who does not have a receiving wound, for them, things are easy because they don't judge how they're getting things, right? But for somebody who has a receiving wound, they are judgmental. They make it a moral issue. For them, receiving is very emotional, right? They are constantly worried about, do I deserve this or not? How will I return it back, and stuff like that. Now, I'm not saying that it means that you become immoral or you just take from people. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about the fact making it easy for you to receive things in life, right? Now, let's come to the father wound. Father wound is basically, uh, again, the same thing, right? Father wound happens when you have not received consistent and unconditional love from your father, right? Both the things have to be satisfied. When that is not the case, your father basically in your life represents your self esteem and your self confidence. How sure do you feel about yourself? Do you feel that you have a sense of safety inside of you? Do you feel like you have, metaphorically speaking, a backbone to you, right? You're not scared of making a mistake. You're not scared of, just saying that, you know what, I can make a mistake, or that I can fuck up and I will be fine. Do you have that fearlessness, that courage? That is what your father represents in your life. When you have a father wound, what tends to happen is that you become very, very scared of exercising any kind of courage or bold decisions in your life. That further invites exhaustion. For example, let's say you and your friend both work in a company, and your manager has been unfair to the both of you. Your friend who does not have a father wound may go and actually speak to your manager, that, you know what, whatever is happening is not right. He will speak up, he will make decisions fast, and even if he has to leave the company, he will make the shift. But for you, because you don't feel that courage, you don't feel sure of yourself, you constantly doubt yourself, that may not be the case. You may keep on struggling, you may keep on exhausting yourself because you don't believe in yourself. That is also how you invite exhaustion through fatherhood. Mother and father wound are one of the most important things that you will have to work on when you start your inner work, because these two determine how you look at yourself and how you receive from the world. Exhaustion is something that happens when you choose a harder path for yourself, and there is a reason you choose the hard path, right? Because it is something that feels familiar to you. It is something that feels that, you know this is what I have known, life being hard. And when life feels hard to you, you have two options. You can either take pride in it, oh, life is hard, but I'm sailing through. Or you can say that, no, I deserve better. Life does not have to be hard for me. Life gets to be easy for me. So I'll find the easy path. Life is easier for people who are willing to say that I deserve an easy life. Life is hard for people who take pride, who make it a personal mission that I will fight. You don't have to fight. There's nothing to fight, right? If you're just willing to say it and practice it, that I deserve an easy life, and to say that I deserve an easy life and to actually embody it, this gap is where inner work is. This gap is where you need to heal your childhood trauma. This is exactly what me and my clients do. This gap is what we cross, because I can say that I deserve an easy life, but when I don't actually embody the version of me who will practice an easy life, who will take decisions like that person who has an easy life, nothing will change, right? So that embodiment happens through inner work only, right? And that is why it is so important. That is why information and transformation are two different things. Now, I want to talk a little bit about coping mechanisms that you may end up leaning onto very unknowingly, like a habit, to sort of escape from exhaustion or to forget about exhaustion. Okay, before I start, I will just quickly check if my audio and video is working fine. Okay. Yeah, I think we're doing fine. Now, coming back to what I was talking about. So, yesterday I spoke a little bit about manifestations of exhaustion. Today, I want to talk a little bit about coping mechanisms, right? The first one I want to talk about is addiction. Now, what is an addiction, right? To like say in layman's term, addiction is something that you start relying on to escape from, emotions basically that you're feeling inside of you, right? That is the usual theory of why people get addicted to something. Now, addiction is not just smoking or drinking. Smoking and drinking is a very big part of it. Addiction is also overeating. Addiction is also overconsumption. Addiction is basically relying on anything to regulate you because you are unable to regulate yourself. So addiction can also be a person. Addiction can also be a toxic relationship. Addiction can be watching, TV series after TV series. Anything that you start relying on because you feel that you cannot process emotions inside of you is an addiction. And we spoke about this in the last event, that exhaustion is when exhaustion happens, you reach this, this capacity wherein you just cannot handle anything anymore, right? You've reached your bandwidth. You've just completely exhausted yourself. And when you are exhausted and you are not really dealing with the root cause of exhaustion, it doesn't mean that the life will stop, right? For example, if I am, let's say, emotionally exhausted because of my repetitive patterns and I'm not doing anything to heal it, my life will not stop. No, the day-to-day irritants of life will be there. For example, let's say I'm very exhausted. I go out and I'm driving a car, right? And let's say somebody speaks rudely to me. I start crying right there and then because I don't have the bandwidth to deal with anything. So just because I'm exhausted, life will not stop. Life will go about. So what do I do? Maybe I start relying on smoking. Maybe I start relying on drinking. Maybe I start relying on overeating. Every time I'm sad, I start overeating. Every time I'm sad, I'm picking up a cigarette. Every time I am having a lonely night, I will pick up a bottle. So, addiction is one of the most dangerous, yet one of the most common side effects of exhaustion. When you don't help your body release the trauma that is causing this constant cycle of exhaustion, your body also gives up, right? Your body gives up, and your body then tells you that there is nothing I can do anymore to help you, and that is when it goes towards the cheapest dopamine hit that it can find. And what is that? Anything that's in front of you. A cigarette, an alcohol bottle, overeating, food, overconsumption of information, whatever it is. Or even a toxic relationship. You may go back to a toxic relationship. You may rekindle a toxic relationship. You may get into a new toxic relationship. You don't know. All of it because your inner child is overwhelmed, and you, as an adult, instead of taking care of your inner child, And how do you take care of your inner child? Undergoing trauma healing, releasing the childhood trauma so that your inner child knows how to handle things, how to deal with things. So, in that moment, instead of being a parent to your inner child, what you are essentially doing is you're abandoning that inner child, and that inner child is gone haywire. He's overwhelmed or she's overwhelmed. So, what does that child do? It does anything that is in front of him to soothe himself. And that is why one of the ways I can describe addiction to you is it's you abandoning your inner child. It's you telling your inner child, I can't take care of you, I leave you behind. That's what addiction is. So if you are coping with exhaustion through this, look at your habits, like look at your day-to-day life. Do you constantly have a habit of indulging in things like overeating, smoking, drinking, getting back into toxic relationships, getting back into toxic patterns, over consuming social media, like mindlessly scrolling, mindlessly watching TV series after TV series? Because all of this signals towards cheap dopamine. And cheap dopamine is something we reach out to because we don't know how to wait or you know create long-term happiness. We don't know how to create long-term happiness because we don't want to deal with our sadness. We don't want to face it, we don't want to resolve it, we don't want to heal it, right? So if all of this is happening, make sure that you decide if this is how you want to continue, because addiction is not going to solve anything, and you also know that. Every single person that I've ever spoken to has been addicted to something has told me the same thing. They know it's not solving something. So there comes a point where you have to take a decision whether I want to keep relying on this, or I can go and actually give my inner child the life it deserved. I can give my inner child the patience, the love, the healing he did not get or she did not get. Because addiction is you abandoning that child, and that child needs you. That child needs you to be a parent that that child did not have growing up, right? A common exercise I often like to give to my clients is I ask them to bring out to bring out a picture of a younger version of them, like preferably a physical photograph. And I often ask them to look at that child, and I often ask them that when you look at that child, whatever behaviors you're indulging in right now, whatever decisions you're making right now, do you think this child deserves that? And the answer I've gotten 100% of the time is no. No, this child deserves better. So if you're ever feeling that, no, I can just go on in life just exhausted, tired, please take out a picture of a younger version of yourself. Look at that child and see. Because when you don't work on yourself, when you don't heal yourself, when you refuse to come out of your patterns, that is the child you're disappointing, right? Now, the extension of addiction is also numbing out, right? Because addiction is, again, right, we want to numb the emotions that we're feeling inside. So, numbing out can mean, emotionally checking out from your life itself, mentally checking out from life itself, engaging into substances, anything that makes you feel numb, anything that makes you feel that, oh, thank God, I just don't want to deal with this anymore, right? So, numbing out is also a way you cope with exhaustion, right? Not physical exhaustion per se, but definitely mental and emotional exhaustion. And significant behavior changes. So significant behavior changes is when your behavior is not normal in the sense that it is not helping you, it is not healthy for you. There's like significant behavioral changes in you on a day-to-day basis, right? Some days you're very sad, some days you're very angry, you just don't know where your emotions are going, right? Like you don't have any control over them. That's also a sign of exhaustion, because again, right, internally you are so tired, you don't want to deal with another issue. Now, let's talk about how can you actually overcome your exhaustion. So, I'm going to talk about just a few questions, like 3 or 4 questions. These are self-reflective questions that I want you to journal on and really think about. Right? Um, just a second. I will check if we have any questions so far. I don't think so. Okay, so we'll continue. Okay. Now, the first thing is I want you to recognize what part of your life is demanding too much of your energy at present, right? And here I want you to think in terms of buckets. Is it your personal life? So when I say personal life, what I mean is your relationship with yourself. When you think about your relationship with yourself, do you think it is healthy? Do you think it is loving? Do you think it is the safest place for you? Because your relationship with yourself, when you come back to yourself, it needs to be the safest place on earth. It needs to be the best place for you. When you come back to yourself, when you sit with yourself, it needs to be the most beautiful, the most safest place there is. Is that the kind of relationship you have with yourself? If not, what about your relationship with yourself is draining you? Is it that you're critical of you? Is it that you're too demanding? Is it that you constantly feel confused or directionless? Is it that you're a people pleaser? Is it that you have anger issues? Whatever it is, describe as to if your personal life, your relationship with yourself is what is demanding too much of energy from you. Another aspect of your relationship can be your relationship with your partner and your parents, right? If you have one, right? If you have your partner, if you have your parents, um, are these relationships draining for you? And then if you're married, are your relationship with your in-laws draining for you, extended family draining for you? Is your relationship with your friends, your social life is draining for you? Your relationship with your work, how's your professional life, is that draining for you? Your relationship with money, is that draining for you? If you have kids, is your relationship with your kids draining for you? Ask yourself, what part of my life drains me the most? Now, the second is, in that particular area of life, what is the most exhausting part? So for example, let's say that I say that my relationship with myself is the most draining for me. It exhausts me because um, I don't share a good relationship with myself. Now, I want you to be specific. What is the most exhausting part, right? Let's say for me, it would could be that I'm overthinking a lot, or I'm always people pleasing, and I don't follow through my promises, or whenever I decide to do something, I don't actually do it, and that makes me disappointed, and that feels very draining for me, right? So for you, whatever the area is, ask yourself what is the most draining part about it. Be specific, right? Don't be generic. Be as specific as you can. Even if it is a relationship with someone else, be specific. If it's with your partner, what specific part with your partner is the most draining for you, right? Now, the next question I wanted to ask yourself is that, is the exhaustion external or internal? Which means, is the exhaustion that is happening to you in this specific area of your life? So again, I just want to mention it can be multiple areas also. It doesn't have to be just one. It can be multiple. Now, coming back to the question, that is the exhaustion that is happening to you in this particular area of your life external or internal? Which means that external exhaustion is something that is caused by other factors and other people outside of us. Which means that my partner is doing this, that is why it's happening. Or I lack support from outside, I lack resources from outside. Or is it because of you? Now, this question is going to be very tricky because a lot of the times we don't really realize the role that we play in our own suffering. Oftentimes, it is very easy, it is very tempting to blame someone else. So, I want you to be a bit mindful here. When you say that somebody else is responsible for exhausting me, I want you to ask yourself that what has made me give this person this amount of power, this amount of permission, or this amount of privilege to exhaust me like this? Or if it is physical factors like lack of resources, lack of time, what have I done to really fix this? What have I done to make it easy for me? So reflect whether the exhaustion factors for you are external or internal, right? Now, next question, and the last one I wanted to ask yourself is, how long has this exhaustion been a part of your life, right? So exhaustion for different people means different, like exhaustion timelines are different for different people, right? If I say that I am exhausted with my relationship with myself because of my overthinking, maybe it was there my entire life, or maybe it just started at a specific age, maybe it just started after I started working, maybe it started after I crossed teenage, right? Depends on multiple factors. So for you also, the timeline could be different. Let's say that your relationship with yourself deteriorated after you got married, or your relationship with yourself deteriorated after you started working, right? Whatever the answer is. And then I want you to ask yourself, what changed? What happened that led to the start of this exhaustion? All of these questions I want you to really think about, and I want you to write. Don't just think, write in a notebook. so that you understand the factors that has played in your exhaustion cycle. And then the last thing and the only thing that remains is to release all the pain that that you've been carrying inside, that is resulting into this consistent exhaustion cycle, which means engaging in trauma healing work. And this is exactly what I do with my clients too. So again, you can work with anyone, but make sure that you work on it, because when you don't, it comes back, right? Like, don't stick a band-aid on a problem that requires complete care. It's like saying that somebody is fractured in multiple areas in their body, and you just tell them, oh, take a painkiller. It'll make them feel good for one day, and over time they will build up resistance also. And that is why people who don't do trauma work, don't engage in deep work, the initial things they try, just meditating, going on a vacation, initially it makes them feel a little bit good. The pain comes back, it comes back even stronger, and nothing works because you have developed a tolerance for everything. So engage in real foundational work on what is the cause of your pain and how you can actually release it, right? A great thing to do before you start doing your trauma work, or even while you're doing it, is keep on educating yourself, right? You can also check out some free resources I have created if you're struggling with problems in your romantic relationship, I have a free boot camp on that, healing relationship wounds. I have a fantastic boot camp on healing childhood trauma. If you're specifically targeting on healing your inner child, I also have a boot camp on that available too. So I have a lot of free resources, and you will find a lot of live events that I've done over years. So educate yourself. The more you educate yourself, the more you will realize the depth of your problem, and the more you will realize what you need to work on, right? When we don't realize the depth of a problem, it's very easy to do mindless, stupid stuff. Like, I can't tell you how many times I've had people who have told me, Rianchi, I've been meditating for years, I've been doing this for years, that for years, nothing is working. And I often ask them, what makes you think that this will somehow take away the problem? Like, if I have issues with my self esteem, no matter how much I meditate, it will not go away. Meditation is a tool for awareness, right? Similarly, let's say if I wake up at 6 a.m. every day, I exercise, that's a lifestyle change. That doesn't change anything inside of me, right? So make sure that you're using the right thing to solve the right problem, right? Everything has its place. When we are dealing with exhaustion, we are dealing with years of decoded trauma. We are dealing with trauma that has been stored in our body, that makes us choose the hard path, right? So external tools does not help. You have to be willing to meet your inner child, you have to be willing to sit with your pain, and you have to be willing to actually release it, right? If you have any questions about this particular topic, feel free to drop me a DM, and keep a look on my page. I keep on doing live events, and if you would like to work with me, you can book a one-on-one session with me. And if there are any other questions about any other topic, or if you wish that I do a live event on a specific topic that you would prefer, you can always drop me a DM. Thank you so much for joining. And for those of you who watch this as a recording, again, feel free to reach out to me for anything that you want. Bye bye.